You know the saying, heavy is the head who wears the crown? So we got the NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight. We got the NBA Finals starting tomorrow. And we got a hell of an NCAA baseball tournament going. Welcome to the Equinox, ladies and gentlemen. That's Siriani, Carl Maglowski, Ming Chen pushing the buttons. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, especially for those who watch college baseball like myself, which is actually where I want to start. So last time I saw Carl, it was in the Rider University radio station studio.
Yes.
And I will never forget, I was looking at my phone, I was looking at the computer monitor in the studio, and I was glued to watching Vanderbilt versus Wright State in an elimination game right before the regional championship.
Yes.
Vanderbilt was the top overall seed in their region, top overall seed in the country.
Yes.
Wright State was the Horizon League champion, and it was 5-1 entering the ninth inning. Wright State was in the lead. They were up 5-1.
Right.
Vanderbilt scores 3 runs with 2 outs. And then a fly out to right field to get out number 3, and then Wright State did the unthinkable. They beat the number 1 team in the country before the regional championships.
Yes, and when that happened, you were ecstatic.
I could not believe it.
You said, oh, effing crap.
I literally typed in my what you call it?
Yeah.
I said something along the lines of, I've never seen this happen before. This is actually bleeping crazy.
Yes.
I also put down right bleeping state.
Yes.
When texting my friends. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
But it was just, like, you love to see stuff like that happen. I'm a fan of upsets.
Yes.
And, like, if you watch, like, other sports like the tennis world and what's going on in the in NCAA softball and what else? There's, well, the NBA playoffs, I could say there was, like, an upset or two going on. But I love it. Like, that's why I love March Madness so much. And this March Madness actually kind of sucked because we didn't really get a lot of upsets.
Correct. So before we continue the show, Matt.
Yes.
I want to say hello to our friend Ming, who we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, Ming.
So how have you been on your adventures?
Yeah.
My adventures have been... Oh, wait. My adventures have been good.
There you go.
I got to learn how to use a microphone.
So when you were doing your adventures, were you at a local bar or restaurant? Have you been watching your Orioles play?
I've been watching the Orioles, yeah. They have not started off well.
They've picked it up.
They are very disappointing. Listen, we've all been there. A lot of injuries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's these are humans. They underperform at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes the whole team underperforms.
Yes.
But lately they've been picking it up. But cautious optimism.
Yes.
They swept the White Sox. Big deal.
Yeah, big whoop.
So I got a spoiler, guys, before we continue on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So the Rockies actually won a series.
They swept the Marlins.
They
swept them.
A sweep. There's hope for everybody.
Yes.
Hope for everybody.
Colorado actually doesn't stink for once.
They have double-digit victory.
That's this past 3 days.
Yeah, these past 3 days have been a miracle for Colorado.
Yes.
And Baltimore.
The teams that stunk in the really beginning of the year, but think it, Colorado won 9 games before this series against the Marlins, and they won 3.
Now they're 12-50.
Now they're 12-50.
They're on pace for 30 wins, but now who knows? Sky's the limit.
You know what's funny though? They're actually still right on par with what the 1899 Cleveland Spiders did. If you don't know the 1899 Cleveland Spiders, that was the worst team in baseball by loss record.
So you mentioned this on Sunday. Who were the Cleveland Spiders? Were they independent or was they affiliated with MLB?
All right, so I'm going to put this in as old school as I possibly can. I wish we had black and white. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Spiders from 1899 were the worst team in Major League Baseball. They were a 20-134 team. No team had more losses than the Cleveland Spiders ever in their history. And unfortunately, it looks like that could be surpassed. Through 62 games, the Cleveland Spiders were 12-50, much like the Colorado Rockies of today. 126 years later, there's actually a chance that we could see a big upset in the making as far as a record broken that nobody wants to have.
Where did they? I know they were Cleveland, but where in Cleveland did they play?
Oh God, that's 1899. I wish I did my research on that.
Well, you know the Cleveland Spiders.
Well, they made. Well, I know this. After that season, 1899, the team folded.
The team folded.
They folded after that. Okay. Because you can't come back from that. There's no really coming back from that. And they were played 154 games at the time.
Well, when they were old, the Philadelphia A's before they were named the Philadelphia Phillies, they stunk.
They did.
They didn't fold.
Well, it was different back in 1899, early 1900s. It was just different because teams didn't like if something went bad, it went bad, and you gave up on it. Right. Now it's like if you have something bad, you just gotta dust yourself up and move on. That's really all you could do.
Right.
And that's what happened with the Rockies. They dusted themselves off after starting 9-50. They got swept by the Mets, and then what do? They go to Miami and sweep the Marlins.
Yes, they did.
Unbelievable.
But I'm ready to go back to college baseball. I'm ready.
Yes.
That was more of the show that we did on Sunday than the other stuff.
Than the MLB, but I'm actually really excited about this. So, in addition to Vanderbilt being knocked out, we had 7 of the top 16 national seeds knocked out.
I called it.
You called UTSA.
Yes, I did.
Over Texas. That was the number 2 seed gone.
Banked it.
You were right on. Georgia got knocked out by Oklahoma State. Clemson got knocked out by Kentucky. Oregon State got knocked out by Utah Valley. Ole Miss got knocked out by an incredible game against Murray State.
Now, I called that too.
You did call that. You called a lot of these, and then Miami got upset by USM.
You called that.
I called that one, yeah.
You called Miami.
But, like, did you watch the highlights for Ole Miss Murray State?
No.
All right, so let me just paint the picture for you.
Okay.
Through 7 innings, Ole Miss was down 12-3 to Murray State.
Right.
And then Ole Miss scores 5 runs, 3 via walk in the 7th.
Right.
12-6. And then they got a base hit that scored 2 more runs. So it was 12-8 entering the 8th.
Yes.
One of their players hits a 3-run home run in the 8th.
Okay.
And it's 12-11.
Oh,
and then bottom of the 9th inning.
Yes.
Their closer, Murray State's closer, comes in.
Right. Shuts the door.
Strikeout, flyout.
Nice.
And Murray State managed to hold on.
Nice.
Now, it would have been better had Little Rock of the Ohio Valley Conference actually beat LSU.
Right.
I wanted that so badly. They were a 26-33 baseball team.
Right.
And they actually beat LSU once already. I wanted it to happen, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Right.
Unfortunately, but thankfully we only have 7 upsets. So Carl actually hit the nail on the head on a lot of these NCAA baseball tournaments. But I do want to also preface the other teams that advanced to super regionals.
Yes.
That would be Arkansas.
Which we called.
Arkansas we called. That would be Auburn.
We called.
That would be North Carolina.
We called.
LSU, who survived.
We called it. I called that.
And these are all the national seeds who survived. UCLA.
Called.
Tennessee.
Called.
Coastal Carolina.
Called.
Oregon State.
We lost that.
We lost that one, and then Florida State. We
called Florida State. We picked Southern Cal, so we picked the Trojans.
Yeah, we did.
We picked Auburn Tigers from Toomer's Corner.
Yes, we did.
We picked Louisville, right?
We did.
We picked Louisville.
We did. They upset. Well, Oklahoma State beat Georgia, and then in the regional final, it was Louisville had to win once, Oklahoma State had to win twice, and then Louisville won.
Now, once we go over the.
I can't wait to go over.
When we go over the best of Super Regionals, best of 3. Louisville is now the host against Miami, so one ACC team is going to go out of that matchup.
Yeah,
we have another matchup.
2 SEC teams.
Yep, Arkansas hosting Tennessee, the reigning defending
national champions.
National champions, and then we have other picks also. So when we do our picks, I think we should throw Ming in also.
I want to get Ming involved in this. Ming's got to give me that face. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this.
I've only been watching highlights on Sports Center or whatever.
You want to know something, Ming?
I gotta look at the brackets.
You want to know something, Ming? Like, this is actually kind of crazy. In college baseball, they score way more runs than they do in Major League Baseball, and I think there's one reason for it. And I mentioned it before.
Aluminum bats.
Aluminum bats, exactly.
Yeah,
the aluminum bats. Yeah, you hear a clink every time they swing the ball.
So what we did was on Sunday we discussed. So after they're done in college, if they get drafted, when they play, low class in Clearwater, or they're going to Lakewood, or they're even playing for Trenton Thunder to be drafted. Yeah. Once they leave college, they play basically with wooden bats.
Yeah.
So we were saying, why don't they after high school? One is forget the aluminum bats, just go right to wood.
Well, college, they're actually go ahead, Ming.
If I were to guess, cost.
Yeah,
those bats aren't cheap
because you could break more, but you could also break aluminum bat too, maybe.
Sure, but they're way more durable.
It's tougher to break an aluminum bat. It's tougher to break aluminum bat than a wooden bat.
Some of those maple bats are like $300, man.
Yeah,
and so it's hard to break a torpedo bat too. But Aaron Judge has proven that.
Well, it's Aaron Judge, but that's my guess is probably cost.
Yeah,
if I were to guess. Now there's probably another reason, but I'd be all for it. They would get used to the wooden bat.
Yeah,
and listen, those wooden bats. Didn't Griffey launch one 700 feet? He hit the batter's eye, somebody hit the batter's eye at Mets at Chase Stadium.
Yeah,
or something like that. I gotta look that up, but I think they gave Griffey bad.
Yep.
They did,
Freaking
they did.
lost the
Yep.
thing. Yeah, it's not the same.
It really isn't. But so for those of you who don't know, Super Regionals, it's a best of 3. It's like a typical baseball series. You win 2 out of 3, you win the series. But if you win the first 2 games, there's no third.
Right.
Because what's the point?
So some of them start Friday afternoon. So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the others start on Saturday. So you'll be Saturday, Sunday, and if
At
game
worst
on
case,
Monday.
Monday, yes.
Yes.
So we're going to go over these right now. So we're going to go game by game with these Super Regionals.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to start off with Louisville, Miami in a best of 3. Game 1, who would take that?
Game 1.
Yeah.
You don't want to do the whole series?
I mean, well, you never know if they. Okay, we'll just do it that way. All right, so Louisville, Miami, how does that go?
I'm going with the home team. I'm gonna with the host. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
You're going Louisville
I'm going Louisville.
in straight sets, in straight sweep.
They're gonna win the series. I don't know if it's gonna be a sweep, but I think they're gonna win. They'll advance.
I'm gonna say Louisville advances too. I think this team can really light up the scoreboard. I like it the way this team plays. Miami barely survived against USM, and that was kind of shocking. Ming, I know how I hate to put you on the spot for this, but what do you think, Louisville or Miami?
I'll go Louisville as well.
Louisville. Okay.
Okay.
Keep that mic on because we got more series to go to.
Okay.
The number 8 seed Oregon State, number 9 seed Florida State. Pac-2 versus ACC again.
I'm going with the Pac-2. I'm going with the Beavers.
Beavers lit up USC. I like the way. Yeah, there you go, Ming. That'll help you out.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Oregon State as well. Florida State's a perennial College World Series team, but they're actually really good. I gotta go Oregon State here. Ming?
I'll go Oregon State as well.
All right, Oregon State. All right, so we're just gonna go but we're not gonna go by series, I guess. All right, go down, and then we got North Carolina, Arizona, the 5th seed, another ACC team, and then Arizona of the Big 12.
I'm going with the upset. I'm going to go with Arizona.
You're on Arizona?
I'm going to Wildcats. I'm going with Arizona because they won that. They won that. You know what I'm saying? They won that convincingly.
They did.
With no if game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Arizona, North Carolina had to squeak in and had that big game on Monday when they blew out Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
You know what?
In the upset.
I'll go the same. I don't want to keep picking chalk lines, so I'm going to go Arizona as well. Man, what are you thinking?
They're playing in Chapel Hill.
They're playing in Chapel Hill,
Home
yes.
field advantage. I'm going to go with the home team.
You're going North Carolina.
Carolina.
Okay. Now we got another ranked battle. Auburn of the SEC versus Coastal Carolina of the Sun Belt.
I'm going Toomer's Corner with Auburn.
Okay.
I'm going with the Auburn Tigers.
You know what? Coastal Carolina, the Sun Belt, if you looked at what they've done, they're really, really good this year. I'm going to say Coastal Carolina. Ming?
AU all the way.
Auburn.
AU all the way.
All right. Now, 2 SEC schools, Arkansas, Tennessee. Carl?
I'm going to go in the upset. I'm going to go with the Volunteers.
I'm going to go with the defending national champions as well. Tony Vitello has been coaching this team really well.
I like Carl's confidence on this. Let's go with the Vols.
Okay. Next up, we got LSU of the SEC versus West Virginia of the Big 12. Carl?
I'm going in the upset. I'm going to go
Mountaineers?
West Virginia.
You're going with the Mountaineers.
I'm going with the
In
Mountaineers.
LSU, I didn't want them to be in this position.
Welcome home, West Virginia.
Country
Take me home. Take me home.
Take me home.
To the place.
place
I belong, West Virginia. Walk me mountain high. Take me home.
Country
Close
road.
enough. Close enough.
Yes.
LSU, the powerhouse.
Oh, you ruined it. Okay.
Sorry.
Now we got the lone Cinderella. Well, there's a couple Cinderellas in the top half of the bracket. Duke of the ACC versus Murray State of the MVC.
Murray State had a nice win in Oxford, but the buck stops here. I'm going with the Blue Devils. I think this is gonna be their first time going to the College World Series. I think
Yes, it would.
so. I'm gonna go for the Blue Devils.
Can you imagine if Duke and North Carolina and Coastal Carolina all make the College World Series? You talk about maybe half the schools being from the Tar Heel State. But I'm going to go with the upset. I want Murray State to continue.
You want Murray State? You want the Racers?
I'm going with the Racers.
Okay.
I would like to see Murray State continue as well. We'll see.
Okay. And now, last but not least, we got UTSA Roadrunners taking
Yes.
on the UCLA Bruins, the 15th national seed.
As much as I want to pick Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, UCLA was scoring a lot of runs in their regional.
They can score at will.
So I'm going with the Bruins.
I gotta go with the upset. I'm going with my heart and not my head. I'm going with UTSA Roadrunners. Ming, last one.
UCLA. Come on.
UCLA. Okay. I'm actually very excited for this. Like I love college baseball, and this is fulfilling for me because if you watched the NCAA basketball tournament, like I said, not a lot of upsets, a lot of chalk lines.
Right.
And we're gonna stick to the college ranks because if you watch the WCWS, Oklahoma is not going to 5P, folks. And actually, if you watch the elimination game between them and Texas Tech, it got a little dicey.
It did?
So in the 7th inning,
right,
Texas Tech was up 2-0.
Right.
Oklahoma had a guy, this is the top of the 7th, so they had to win, they had to score 2 runs when they were done.
Right.
They had a runner on second base with 2 outs.
Yes.
The batter for Oklahoma faced an 0-2 count with two outs. And on the 3rd pitch of the at-bat, she drilled a 2-run homer to tie the game.
Okay.
Oklahoma was alive. But then Texas Tech hit a walk-off sac fly in front of Norman City, Oklahoma to stop the 5-peat.
Right.
So in the Women's College World Series, it will be Texas Tech of the Big 12 versus Texas of the SEC. And what happened, why Oklahoma was in this position against Texas Tech was because they lost to Texas in the winners bracket, which bumped them down to the losers bracket. They beat Oregon or UCLA, some Big Ten school, if you want to call it a Big Ten school. And then they advanced in the winner go home in the semifinals of the Women's College World Series against Texas Tech. They had to win twice. They didn't.
Right.
So, no 5-peat. And it's actually kind of a shame. I like dynasties, but I also like upsets. So we got an upset. We're going to have a Cinderella champion in Women's College World Series for the first time since 2019.
You think it's going to be Cinderella because Texas is
the 6th
seed? Texas is the powerhouse.
Well, Texas is the 6th seed and Texas Tech is the 12th seed nationally. So you're going to get a national seed winning either way, but it's not Oklahoma or Texas A&M.
So I'm going to go. Yeah, I know you're going to pick it. I'm going to go with this. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em horns?
Yeah, they deserve it. They lost last year to Oklahoma.
They did. They lost their big rival.
They lost to them in the if game in game 3.
They did.
So they won the first one and lost the last 2, correct?
Yeah, they did.
So
they did.
Yeah, I'm going with the Hook 'em horns, Longhorns.
I'm going to go with the Longhorns as well. Texas deserves something. But back to college baseball for a second. So I don't know if you're aware of this or if you were keeping track of the teams. 5 ACC teams are in the final 16.
Right.
4 SEC teams are in the final 16. Yes. 2 Big 12s, an MVC, an AAC, I'm trying to count a Sun Belt.
What do you mean AAC? Oh yeah. Texas San Antonio.
Yeah.
Is it in the American?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there
Coastal's in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, I mentioned them.
And then Murray State's in the Missouri Valley.
Mentioned them. There were 2 more. Trying to put my noggin to it. 5 ACC, 4 SEC, 2 Big 12, MVC. I gotta see the bracket one more time. It'll jog my memory. Okay, scroll down. Oh, Pac-2.
No, so you got 1.
A Pac-2 and a Big 10. That's it.
Yeah.
So 5 ACC, 4 SEC, 2 Big 12s, a Big 10, an MVC, an MVC, a Sun Belt. We got also I gotta look at that bracket again. The conferences are a lot. A Pac-2 and a Big 10. That's it. So, and actually, I don't know if you're aware of this. If you looked at the bracket before regionals, 64 teams, guess how many of the SEC got in? I had to guess.
I say 12.
13.
13?
So 20% of the bracket was made of SEC schools, and then 9 of them went down in regionals, including several top seeds that were nationals. But like they weeded out some of the bad SEC teams too that were in there. Like Oklahoma went out easily. Well, Oklahoma put up a fight.
Yeah, at least they made it to the championship game on Monday.
Yeah, Alabama lost as well. There were a couple of like really bad SEC teams that made the field. But I've said this before with the SEC, like they manipulate the system somehow, and I think Texas and Oklahoma joining the conference actually made things worse.
They shouldn't, but they went there because of football and basketball.
Exactly.
They should stay in the Big 12, but they didn't want to. They joined for football and basketball.
And that's a powerhouse. This was a banner year for the SEC so far. I mean, 14 schools in the NCAA basketball tournament, 13 in softball, 13 in baseball. I mean, come on.
Well, they didn't win. So they didn't win it in football because of Ohio State.
And I was fine with that.
But yeah, SEC with Florida winning the national in basketball.
Yeah,
and now.
Possibly Texas in softball.
And then you definitely can have a good possibility of a good running in
NCAA baseball.
College World Series.
There's a chance. I mean, you're definitely going to get an SEC team in there with Arkansas and Tennessee.
If Tennessee gets in there, and I think they will, if Tennessee gets back to Omaha, I think they're going to win the whole thing.
Really? Again? Back-to-back?
I think they're going to do back-to-back.
They have a really good ballpark in Knoxville, because Nashville is Vanderbilt. And then Knoxville is Tennessee. So it's a really good ballpark. They actually added to it after they won the World Series last year.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, like this team deserved it. They were very spot on. They were they had a couple 400 batters with a couple 400 batting average batters. They were really, really good. This time around, I think we might see an ACC school take it home. And honestly, if it were me, I would probably say North Carolina maybe if Arizona doesn't upset. But the ACC is just very stacked, and people don't really recognize that. But speaking of NCAA baseball, the Kansas City Royals did call up a former Florida Gator to their roster, Jack Caglianone.
Yes.
A former Florida Gator who can do everything. He's like a new Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
Was called up. He went 0 for 5 in the Royals win over the Cardinals.
Okay.
But it's going to take some time for this kid. I mean, the thing with Jack Caglianone, if you watch him in college,
yes,
he's a very swing-heavy guy. Yes. He's going to swing for the fences every single pitch. He'll swing it back pitches sometimes, too.
Right.
He's a home run slugger. That's what he is.
So my memory is correct. When he played at Florida, he played right field.
Yes.
It was the DH.
Yes.
And he also pitched.
Correct.
Yes.
He did a little bit of everything. And he was actually very good at the University of Florida.
Now, last year, their record wasn't that good, and he carried them to the College World Series last year.
He did. He was their star. He was their star player at the Gators. Now the Gators were eliminated easily in the regionals. But I want to go into baseball really quick. So now that brings us to baseball. The Royals are actually outside looking in the AL wild card so far. If we go to the standings, it's Minnesota, Cleveland, and also Houston are still in the mix.
Houston,
we have a problem.
Planet Houston.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that the Astros aren't as good as they were last year. Not nearly as good as they were last year.
But Seattle always chokes anyway.
They do. They always choke.
Seattle does this.
Can you imagine they had the worst offense in baseball and the best pitching in baseball last year? The Seattle Mariners did. And look, they're a half game behind Houston already.
Right.
Now, I don't know if the Seattle plays today. I know on Wednesdays it's a little dicey with the schedule because you got teams that play at 12 or 1 o'clock, and then you got teams that play at 3 or 4, and then 7 o'clock.
So there is a big injury that I heard.
Yes.
For the Atlanta Braves.
Yes.
Spencer Strider is hurt again.
Uh-huh.
So stick a fork in them. They're done.
Yeah, they're done.
They're done.
Finito.
Yep.
Finito. The Mets are in a competitive series with the Dodgers.
Yes.
And they're only a half game in front of Philly.
Yes.
Philly's hanging in there despite getting creamed by the Brewers not too long ago.
Doesn't matter. They'll take care of the Blue Jays again tonight.
Yeah, they will. The Dodgers are in first place by a game in the NL West. Who would have thought?
Now, what's helping the Phillies is the Padres and Giants are having a series right now.
Correct.
So they're basically beating each other up.
Yes. So Philly's going to enhance their wild card status through this. Now,
so if the Phillies don't win the division, they'll
get a wild card.
They're going to host the top wild card at the bank.
Yeah. Now, if you go to the wild card standings, I already know the wild card standings. The St. Louis Cardinals are actually in position to get the wild card. I know it's really early in the season, but this is look at that. St. Louis, who we all picked to finish in last place.
So right now, if the season stopped today,
yeah,
you would have the Dodgers hosting the Cardinals.
Correct.
And then the Phillies would be hosting the Padres, which I'm not afraid of the Padres.
And look at Chicago, number 1 seed overall in the NL. The Mets would be the 2 seed. They would face either the Dodgers or the Cardinals. And then the Phillies and Padres would face each other in the wild card.
Now, I would rather if it was me,
Yeah.
as much as you want to win the division and get the bye, I would rather be playing the wild card round first.
So you're saying that the Dodgers being the 3 seed is fine right now?
Yes, because look what happened a couple years ago. So a couple years ago, the Phillies were the 6th seed.
Correct. Yeah.
They swept the Cardinals.
Yes.
In St. Louis.
Yes.
Then they took out the Braves in 5. I mean, sorry, the Braves
4
in
games.
4.
Yeah.
And then same thing. They took the Padres had home field and they beat the Padres in 5 to go through the World Series.
Now you want to know what I remember? I remember the Dodgers were a 111 win ball club in that same year that you're talking about. And the Padres were 89 and 73. There were 22 game difference between the two teams, and the Padres took it to them, and they beat the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So I kind of get, I mean, like, we've seen 6 seeds these last few years do really well in the playoffs.
Yes.
Like, the Mets did really well.
Yeah, so they were the 5 seed because the Phillies were 87 and 75.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers had to bye, and then the Padres just beat them in 4 games.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago, when the Phillies didn't win the division.
Yeah, they were the 4 seed, though.
They were the 4 seed. They hosted
Miami,
the Marlins. They beat them in 2, swept them.
Yeah.
And then same thing. They beat the Braves in 4,
Yeah.
but they lost the Diamondbacks in 7.
That's right.
In LCS.
I remember that.
Last year they won the division, had a bye. They were eliminated in 4 after the bye by the Mets.
Yeah, I know.
So you'd rather play in the first round than have the bye.
You want to know what I just realized?
What's that?
The Phillies went from the 6th seed in 2022 to the 4 seed in 2023 to the 2 seed last year.
Yes. So I want to be mad if they finish as the 4 seed and they host the wild card round, and then it is what it is.
I'm not mad at that either. I mean, like I said, you're not rusty.
No.
That's how I see it.
No.
Because we've seen over the last couple of years, teams that get the wild card have actually proven to be more.
Right. Because if this happens again, and say the Dodgers go on a big streak and they went over, maybe 105, whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
And then they lose in the first round, Manfred's going to say, you know what? Everyone's going to have to play.
Like a 1-8, 2-7.
Yes.
I like that.
It's
kind
gonna
of like with the COVID year where you had expanded playoffs because they wanted to make up events for having a shortened season.
What do you think, Mink?
I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, I don't like the long layoff.
No.
And actually talked to 2006 World Series MVP David Eckstein about this.
Oh, no way.
Last year, some at a Comic-Con. His wife is big in the voice acting community.
Nice.
Like, hey man, what do you think about this long layoff? For these teams. He was like, I don't like it. It's like you lose momentum, you lose focus. These guys are built to play every day.
Yep.
So you give them a week off, 7 days, 5 days.
Yep.
It's too much.
Yep.
You lose all rhythm. He said it was like coming back to spring training again.
Yep.
Even though it was only like a week, and
correct.
it was hard for them to get their rhythm back. They need to do something about it. I agree.
Maybe when there's a new CBA agreement or when they're pitching a new CBA, maybe they can expand it.
Yeah, come on. There's no reason for them to wait that long.
But
No reason.
Because what they should do exactly what they did during the COVID year. Have the top 2 teams from each division as 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, and then your 2 wild cards are 7, 8. And then the format like that they showed.
Or if they don't want to do that, just have another make it 7 teams and just make the first place whoever wins the most games have one.
Kind of like the NFL format.
Basically, the 1 seed gets the bye. That's it. Only the 1 seed gets the bye. Everybody else, if they don't want to add 2 more. But it's Manfred. I don't know.
Well, Rob Manfred's going to be gone a few years because his term ends in 2029. I mean, what else do you want me to say? But I'm kind of happy he's going to be gone because actually, if Rob Manfred, the last thing he wants is another lockout. Because I talked to my good friend Lauro Antonio, and he's all over Rob Manfred. He said that there's a possibility Rob Manfred might enforce another lockout because of the salary cap issue.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. If they don't have a cap, then this is the end. This is the last year of the CBA, correct?
Yes.
All right. So if they do no cap,
there's gonna be a lockout.
The players are gonna lock because they're all the money. It needs to be a cap.
The owners want a salary cap. The players don't.
That's the problem. Is ruining the league.
And what stunk the most was like this was during like the 2022 lockout and even during the COVID year when like before they even put the year together, the players and the owners were like, it was like the Spider-Man, like it was like something like that. Like these guys don't act like adults; they act like children in this situation. And Rob Manfred's just sitting there, just letting this all transpire.
You need a cap.
You need a cap
because you just can't pay luxury tax. You're over the cap. You can't bend. The only way you do that is if you leave some dead money, if you trade. But they're doing it makes no sense.
Yeah.
NBA has it. NFL has it.
Yeah.
NHL has it.
And yeah.
You know?
The only core four that doesn't have it is baseball. And Laurel was like defending that, like saying, I don't really know how you implement a salary cap in this situation because baseball's never had a salary cap before.
Well, they need to.
They need it. They need it.
So that would be basically that would eliminate the Dodgers, but basically doing what they just did.
Yeah,
all those guys.
It's unacceptable. That's why Laurel doesn't want a salary cap because he doesn't want the Dodgers getting all these people through defaulted payments.
So now listen to this. So I heard they have no clue. The Dodgers have no clue when Tyler Glasnow is going to pitch because he's on the shelf. They have no clue with him.
Good, keep him on the shelf. Good.
All those pitchers and they have nobody because all of them are hurt.
And think of it. If they were fully healthy, they'd probably not be the third seed in the National League right now.
Oh no! If they were fully healthy, they'd probably be over 50 wins right now.
Yeah, but instead they're in third place. Not a bad position to be in, but far below the expectations of what people had them at this point in the year. Now I want to go to the American League for a second. We talked about the National League quite a bit, but I want to get to the American League for a second. The Detroit Tigers are looking fantastic right now.
They're going to be the one.
They might be the one seed.
They're going to be the one.
The Yankees are 37-22. They barely got past the Guardians last night. The Astros are currently the American League West champion again. And then your wild cards are the Twins, the Guardians, and the Mariners with the Royals game out.
That'll be shocking if it ended where the Astros would be hosting the Mariners.
Division matchup.
Now, and
then another division matchup if at this point, Minnesota-Cleveland.
Now, I'm saying, give it up for Kevin Cash in the race. I don't know how they're still in it. I know it's 60 games in, but how they...
This is a team that
game and a half out.
This is a team that a lot of people thought would be in last place.
Game and a half out.
They're a game and a half out of a wild card. They're competitive. I don't know a lot of these people on the Rays, and I know usually a lot of my division opponents more than anyone else from other teams. But like the Rays, I can't even name their entire batting order. Like usually I do, but this Rays team, like they have a lot of enigmas. You don't know who they are. They just go out there, play baseball, play hard, and they should really be thanking us for giving them Steinbrenner Field because they did not want to play in North Carolina.
Correct.
And it's a shame that they are going to go back to the Trop once it's fully repaired because...
Now, that's next year or the year after?
The year after. I don't think the Trop will be done by next year. No.
Now, my heart goes for... I have condolences for Corbin Burns.
Yeah, he hurt his arm.
He's on the IL.
Yeah.
Maybe Baltimore knew something. I don't know, but yeah, he's out for at least 15 days on the IL.
And we were talking about it with Ming before we came on. The Orioles have started to pick things up a little bit. They were in last place in the American League. Now they're third from the bottom.
Well, it's still too early. It's still early. That there's still a lot of ground that they can make and go for the wild card.
They can very well make a push.
You know,
after the All-Star break.
Now the thing is, well, I think Ming's opinion.
Boston hit it.
What are they going to do with? Oh man,
Santana. Oh no, Cedric Mullins.
Cedric Mullins.
What's going to happen with Cedric Mullins?
They're not going to resign him.
So they're going to try to get something for him at the break.
Well, he's injured right now, so hopefully.
Now listen to this.
Yes,
they should get something for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now
he's going to walk.
He was linked for the Phillies.
Yes, he was.
If I was the Phillies, I would not go after him either.
No. Now, another rumor I heard, and this is actually kind of crazy, Paul Skeens' name is lingering at the trade deadline.
Okay.
5 years of control, and the Pirates are going nowhere. They're willing to trade their star pitcher away with 5 years of control.
Okay, now, do you know it'll be sick if they get him?
Yeah, I don't know where he would go. I don't know what team needs to...
I'm hearing the Mets.
Mets?
Yeah, the Mets making a push. That would be a key piece.
You know what I would do? You know what I would do? If I was the Tigers, I would go all in and get him. Tigers.
You would think the Tigers would get Paul Skeens?
I would try to go get him.
I mean, you're gonna have to empty the prospect bank for that.
Yeah,
one, though,
yeah,
dude.
Every the Pirates are going to ask for a fortune for him.
But if you have more control with him and you have some guys, prospects, I'll get Skeens for more. I say a couple more years of control.
And if that happens, you'd pair Paul Skeens with Tarek Skubal.
Done.
There you go.
If I was Detroit, if I was the Tigers, I'll go after it.
And I think Detroit, they're going to be buyers at the deadline. You want to know why? Because they know they got something going. They know they have a really good lineup. They're probably the most complete team in baseball.
They're going to win the
division. And they want to do something over the top to make them contenders.
They're going to win the division.
Yeah.
Now, do they finish the 1 seed or the 2?
I think they get the 1 seed.
I think they do.
I think the Yankees can't catch up with them. I don't think they can.
Now, they already played them in Detroit. 4 games already or 3?
I think it was 3. Yeah, it was 3 because I know the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 in Detroit.
Now, when does the Tigers come to the Bronx?
I got to take a look at the schedule again because it's so far out. I don't really know when they face off again. But, oh, God, Cleveland's up 3-0. Oh, God. Now I got to see, actually, the AL Central is really good. It's not even just the Tigers. Not in... This is August. Nothing in August.
September,
yeah. September 9th, 10th, and 11th. At home.
And then after that, who you play at Boston?
At Boston, then at Minnesota, and then at Baltimore. But that's in September.
So you get them again in September.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after Cleveland, we play Boston at home. And I know after Boston to Kansas City, they travel to KC.
All right, so you have...
And then you go to Boston.
So you have Boston next week after you have at the Royals.
This is the rest of the June schedule, by the way.
Okay.
KC, at Boston, at home against the Angels, at home against the Orioles. You travel to see you're at home against the A's, and then you go to Toronto.
Man, can you pull up the Philly schedule? Because I think next week... the Blue Jays are coming to Philadelphia next Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You believe so?
I think so. Yep, we got them again.
Yeah, the Blue Jays again?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. So after we get done with them,
Miami.
Miami. We're beating them 1-0. So after we play them tomorrow at 3:00,
you go to Pittsburgh.
We go to Pittsburgh, and then we home with the Cubbies.
That's a tough one. That's a challenge.
And then we have three with the Blue Jays.
And then the Marlins, you go to Miami for 4.
And then that's the series.
That's the series that you're going to pencil on your calendar.
So I'm
June
going
20th to 22nd.
Yeah, so I'm going to that Saturday game at 7:15. We got swept by them in Queens about a month or 2 ago.
Right.
We got to at least take 2 out of 3.
At least 2 out of 3.
I'm not worried about the Braves, and then we have 3 more,
and then the Padres.
But the Braves will be buried. So
yeah, they'll be done.
Yeah, we got at least when we play the Mets, we got to take 2 out of 3 against them.
That's not a bad call. All right, wow, we're breezing through this. We're only 38 minutes in. Wow, that's actually really amazing. So I want to get to other things. We'll get into the NBA Finals really quick. Actually, I want to get into the NBA because yesterday, the Knicks dropped a bombshell.
Yes, they did.
Tom Thibodeau was fired by the Knicks after 5 seasons, after an Eastern Conference Finals exit. This is a team that has had 3 or 4 50-win seasons during Tom Thibodeau's tenure. Guess how many 50-win seasons the Knicks have had from 2000 to 2020?
1.
Tom Thibodeau had 3 or 4 50-win seasons during his time.
Okay, do you know how many playoff series they won before Tom Thibodeau got there?
2.
I was told 1.
1?
1. Wow. In the last 2 years since he's been there, the last 3 years,
they won 4.
No, 5.
5?
5.
Well, they won 1 in 2023. They won 1 last year, and then they won 2 this year, so 4.
I was told he won 5.
No, it was 4. So Tom Thibodeau's gone, and the Knicks fans, and I know a lot of Knicks fans, they're pissed because they wanted to keep their foundation. They wanted to keep the guy who kept their identity alive, and that was Tom Thibodeau. The Knicks' identity was Jalen Brunson.
Now listen to this.
Yes,
Jalen Brunson loved Tom Thibodeau.
So now he's up in the air as to what he's going to do.
So now I think it was maybe Mikal Bridges.
Yeah,
didn't like how Tom Thibodeau how coached him, but they were saying this. It's not Tom Thibodeau. It's not Tibbs' fault that in Game 1 against the Pacers,
they were gassed.
Karl Anthony Towns missed free throws.
Yes.
OG Anunoby missed free throws.
Correct.
If they make their free throws, that shot by Tyrese Halliburton,
It wouldn't matter.
it wouldn't have mattered.
And
And
you wouldn't
they
see the
could've- they
infamous choke
Right?
thing
And they could have probably played Game 7 Monday.
in the Garden, yeah.
Or the series could have been over already.
And they probably would have been and they probably would have been traveling to Oklahoma to take on the Thunder.
Yep.
Now, as far as the possible candidates for who the Knicks are going to target, there are 3 names: Johnny Bryant, associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then there's Jay Wright, former Villanova basketball coach and 2-time national champion, or Mike Malone, former NBA champion with the Denver Nuggets. Between those 3 candidates, I think Mike Malone is the best option. Because you got a former NBA champion who coached Nikola Jokic to an NBA title. And Mike Malone was one of the more successful coaches in the NBA during his time in Denver. And the reason why the Nuggets fired him was because they didn't want to pay him.
Correct. Okay. Now, I know you're not.
I'm not a Knicks fan.
You're not
a
a Knicks fan,
But
but
across town.
you like the Nets. But you were rooting the Knicks. You were cheering on the Knicks because of your family.
I was supporting them.
Because of your family.
Yes.
Now, no offense, you're gonna laugh, but you're gonna say it's true. James Dolan needs to sell
Sell the
MSG
Yeah.
because he's horrible.
He is bad.
Because you gave him a 3-year extension after last year for $30 million.
You did.
So now you're gonna pay Tibbs that $30 million, and now gonna give another guy all that money?
Yeah.
What are you, stupid?
It was the stupidest thing you could have done.
What are you, stupid?
And this was the James Dolan decision to fire Thibodeau. It wasn't Leon Rose's decision. Leon Rose probably had no idea this was even going on, that he fired Thibodeau, which makes it even more criminal that this even happened.
And the thing is, you get no response from the owner.
None.
Oh,
None.
you just get
Leon Rose said nothing about this.
No, only a paragraph. Oh, we thank Tom for his work, but we need to go on a different page.
That's classless. And Knicks fans are upset because you got rid of the one guy that kept this team together. Now, admittedly, Tom Thibodeau was not great at managing his bench. He was not, because if you watched game 1 of that Indiana Pacers series, Knicks were tired at the 7-minute mark in the fourth quarter. And then Indiana took advantage of that, and then and then it all snowballed after that.
But
And against a team like Indiana who plays boom, 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 you need to utilize your
fast
bench.
pace. But if you knew that, you shouldn't give him an extension.
You could have done that.
You know what I'm saying? If you knew it, you shouldn't have extended him, but you did.
You didn't.
You know?
You let him go.
And here's another thing that makes no sense. Next year, when the season starts again, the Celtics ain't winning the division. The Celtics, if they're maybe a 6 or 7 seed, they're lucky because he's out all next year. Tatum is out.
Yeah, that's right. He's
So-
he's done for this
So
year.
all you have is
You have Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, Derek White,
Yeah.
and maybe who knows
Kristaps
about
Porzingis.
who knows about Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? Al Horford maybe coming off the bench. They're old, so maybe there'll be a six seed, or maybe going in for the play-in. So it's right there for the taking for them to win the division and get
They should win the division.
top
You're right.
2 seed in the East.
They should.
But now
based on everything you just said, they should be a 2 seed next year. But now I don't even know what they're going to do. All I'm going to say is if they hire Jay Wright, bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Because you're bringing in a guy who's been retired for a few years at the collegiate level.
he shouldn't be coaching in.
He shouldn't be coaching NBA. I don't care how many Nova Knicks you have on there. You
No.
shouldn't be bringing him in.
Now, he had some success. Now, Billy Donovan had success when he left Florida to go to Oklahoma City.
Correct.
Since he's been to Chicago, it's only playing.
Yeah, playing.
No first round, no playoff berth. It's playing to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
With what Chicago has, that's good. But I don't see them. I don't see Jay Wright leaving that, because for college you could pick who you want to. There's no contracts. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
For NBA, it's all about this.
It's all about the
I
money.
don't think he's gonna. Like, he likes the CBS.
I think he likes
money.
what he's doing right now.
He's calling games and he's living the best life.
He's calling games. He doesn't have to coach anymore. He has his national championships. Why would you want to get out of retirement for the Knicks?
No. And
I mean, it's a good job. It's good players. It's a good roster. But why?
is it a good roster though?
Brunson, Cat, Josh Hart, a lot of really good, talented players.
But here's the thing: is Josh Hart really a good player? He's just a role piece. He's only a role player.
I mean, he does a little bit of everything.
He's a role player.
I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, there are games where he'll have a triple double on his own, like through 3 quarters, and then there are games where he'll shut down.
But they're stuck with OG because they gave him a big contract.
They did.
So
they did.
So you have OG. Now OG's a starter, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so right now you have Brunson, right? Brunson for now.
Brunson, Cat.
Now here's another thing.
Yeah.
If whoever the next coach comes in, what if he doesn't want to keep Rick Brunson?
Ooh.
So if he doesn't want to keep Rick Brunson, then Jalen might say,
Jalen might walk. He might say,
bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Hell with you. Exactly.
Know? That's the one thing when they did that. You better hope that to keep him happy, his dad is on staff. If his dad is not obtained,
Jalen will be pissed and he'll want to leave. He'll want to leave. Like Cat's going to come back because he had a really good season for what it's worth.
Now, how many years does he left on his deal?
Cat?
Yeah.
I would say maybe, man, can you look at that? I want to say 3 or 4 years left on his contract with the Knicks, but I want to make sure that I'm right. How many years are left on Karl Anthony Towns' contract? I want to make sure that.
Now, do you still think that the Knicks had a better deal in this for the trade or the Timberwolves?
Karl Anthony Thompson? Towns. Let me take a look. 4 years, I was right. So it was 4 years. So he has 3 years left on his deal.
So hold on, he signed.
It's fully guaranteed.
He had a 4-year contract with the Knicks signed in
2022.
So yeah, so
2022, 3, 4. 1 year, I think. Oh, no, wait, hold on. The contract also includes a player option, so the contract is fully guaranteed with salaries of 50 million. Yeah, about 3 years, I would say. About 3 years.
3. So, so 3 years left. So, how much more?
He's making $53 million next year.
No, so how much more time does Julius Randle have on Minnesota?
That's a good question, too. Can you imagine, like, Julius Randle actually did really well playing in Minnesota, and Anthony Edwards, I think, is the next face of the NBA. Julius Randle contract. There we go. All right, so
he has one more.
1 more year?
Yeah, so it's right down here.
Yeah.
So he has one more, and then
he'll be a UFA.
2 years, so next year, he's on his last year of the deal, and then in 2 years, he'll be unrestricted free agent.
And there's also the possibility that there's no club option with that, right?
No, he'll be unrestricted.
There's no club option. Okay.
So my thing is, it wasn't Julius. Now, for them losing, it was Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Because you had Shea, he scores 30 points, but he's doing mid-range. He's going to the paint. He's shooting threes. Ant-Man's only going to
the cup.
Basically going to the paint or shooting to the 3-point line. He's not having his mid-range where he's shooting jumpers at the foul line.
Yeah, and
at the free throw line.
And I didn't see the spark that he usually brings to the Timberwolves. The Thunder kept him contained.
No, because they have a good defense.
They do.
But he needs all 3 phases where you go to the paint, he shoots the threes, and he has to get a nice mid-range jumper.
Yeah.
That's what Shea has.
Yes.
If he does that next year, they'll be back. Minnesota will be back.
Yeah.
But he needs another weapon. You just can't go to the paint, to the rack.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta be a triple threat. You gotta be a triple threat shooter. Yeah. All right. Now we've talked a lot about the Knicks and the Timberwolves getting eliminated, but I want to pick our NBA Finals: the Thunder versus the Pacers. Whether or not this will be popular, enticing series for viewers is beyond me. So for those of you who don't know, Oklahoma, Indiana, those are 2 really small markets. Well, I guess Indiana's not really a small market. Indiana's a basketball town, basketball state, but. Oklahoma is not really much of a big market, although I will say the fans in Oklahoma pay attention to the Thunder more than the Sooners. If you've ever seen a Thunder's game on TV, fans go nuts for the Thunder. And this is the first time the Thunder have appeared in the NBA Finals since 2012. This is the first Pacers Finals berth since 2000. Carl, who do you think wins? And then how many games?
I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder and a gentleman's sweep to clinch in 5.
I'm in the same boat. I'm going to say Thunder in 5. I think the Pacers are a very fast-paced team. I applaud Rick Carlisle for the job he's done, but I think they're not quite there yet to win a title. Now, last but certainly not least, we're going to get into a little bit of NFL before we head out and sign off. Stephon Diggs. So I don't know if any of you seen the Stephon Diggs video over Memorial Day weekend.
No.
So Stephon Diggs was on a yacht.
Right.
And he was with a couple of girls, one of them being his girlfriend, Cardi B.
Okay, who's that? A rapper?
Yeah, you don't know who Cardi B is?
No.
You don't know Cardi B?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, anyway. Cardi B is a famous rapper. A lot of people love her.
Does Meg know who she is?
I would bet he knows.
Oh yeah, come on, Cardi B.
See, I don't listen to that type of music.
I don't blame you for not listening to that type of
Cardi
music,
B.
but I don't blame you for
She's
not.
everywhere, man.
She's everywhere.
Yeah, you got.
Can you put her on the screen so I can see who she is?
Carl's not gonna like.
Yes, Carl.
Carl's not gonna like the view of Cardi B.
Everyone loves the view of Cardi B. Come on.
No, give her a full body shot. Go to a full body shot of Cardi B. No, that one right there with the dress. That one.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cardi B.
Okay.
Carl's like big deal.
Big deal, yeah.
Look at that.
Okay. So what? She's got big tits. Who cares?
She's got a big ass too.
Big
Can
ass,
we
yeah.
can we say that on here? Can we say that?
It's your show. You say whatever you want.
It's our show.
Okay, fine. She's got a big ass.
This ain't FM radio, dude.
True. This is true.
Yeah, it's big, all right.
She can sing and rap too, Carl. She's got talent.
She can
very
rap, but
talented.
I prefer Nicki Minaj better. But
When did she start singing?
oh god, this was like 2018-19. She made her debut.
Oh, so it's not like how it was Nicki Minaj and Salt and Pepper
I
and TLC.
actually respect Nicki Minaj and who's that other woman that raps sometimes? Mary J. Blige. Mary J.
Blige is good.
Mary J. Blige is really good.
Yeah, she's good.
But Cardi B is kind of like a cheap imitation of those two.
Okay. So what happened?
So anyway, Stephon Diggs and Cardi B and Cardi B's girlfriends were on a yacht.
Okay.
And in said video,
Right.
you will see this thing. So no, go to the image next to it.
Were they doing
Cardi B passes Stephon Diggs pink powder. And then Stephon Diggs like, you can put that pink powder on my boop.
Okay.
And basically giving sexually suggestive advice.
Oh my God.
And the Patriots saw this, and the NFL declined to comment. Supposedly Mike Vrabel talked to Stephon Diggs about this, and supposedly things have settled. But come on, you can't do this online. You can't do this online. What is this? But anyway, Stephon Diggs did not get cut. All I can say is if Bill Belichick was in that position and he saw Stephon Diggs do this, you're gone.
You think so?
You're gone. Yes. You don't think so?
I want to put myself in this predicament anyway.
After Steph, what do you think happened after Antonio Brown's Brittany Taylor allegations?
Why would you just why would you put your dad on video anyway? Just keep it to yourself.
I don't understand why you'd put that on video to begin with. Exactly. When I did Sports Symposium, my other show, and I mentioned this, the guys were like disgusted. Because seriously, why would you put this online for people to see?
You just keep your personal life.
Keep your sexually suggestive comments and suggestions
to yourself.
Private. Yes, exactly.
To yourself.
But anyway, some more important stuff. The Eagles traded Bryce Huff away to the San Francisco 49ers. Yes. Bryce Huff was on there for not even a year, and they traded him away. David Andrews and Frank Ragnow retired, 2 offensive linemen.
Correct.
TJ Watt is expected an extension. He's in extension talks with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, so talking about them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know we've been waiting. Should they forget Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Because
yes,
they're waiting. He's waiting. He said I didn't give him a definite answer that I'm signed with the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like, how OTAs basically mandatory OTAs start what next month before training camp. Actually, training camp starts a little over the end of next month, a little over a month.
Yes.
But you have mandatory OTAs, you have mandatory minicamp, then you have training camp.
Correct.
I think they should start, forget about Aaron Rodgers and go somewhere else. But they screwed themselves.
They screwed themselves by even.
They should have got a quarterback, and they didn't because I don't know what they're thinking.
They did. They got Will Howard in the draft.
Will Howard?
Yeah, they drafted Will Howard out of Kansas State.
No, Ohio State.
Ohio State, excuse me.
So,
well, he did play at Kansas State.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, your dad's one of 2 franchises that he roots for.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Okay. You're going to feel confident with Will Howard as your starting quarterback week 1?
I wouldn't think so.
When did you pick Will Howard?
They picked Will Howard in the 5th round.
5th round. So you could have got somebody else up. You could have moved up in the first round and got somebody.
Yeah. Oh,
You could have got Tyler. You could have got Tyler Shuck. You could have. There it is. Let's go. Shador for pick 21 in first round. No. I was like, you could have did.
You could have
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart was up there too.
No.
They went defense heavy in the first few rounds, and then they went fifth round.
So you know what that means is.
What does that mean?
I wouldn't be surprised that if they don't do I won't be shocked, and I want Ming's opinion.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked if say they go 10-7, they lose in the first round of the playoffs, and Mike Tomlin says, "You know what? Thank you. I'm going somewhere else next year."
That sounds like how the season's going to go.
Mike Tomlin's going to finish the year out, make the playoffs, lose in the first round,
have another winning season,
and say, "You know what? Thank you, but I'm going to go somewhere else where I have to get a franchise quarterback."
I'll tell you what though, Mike Tomlin's one of the better coaches in the NFL. He's taken terrible rosters,
but he deserves better.
He does deserve better.
They should have had Ben's. They should have had Big Ben's replacement. Never did.
Never.
He deserves much better.
They tried to get Ben's replacement with Kenny Pickett, but that didn't work.
Kenny Pickett, come on, man.
They gave up on him really quick. They gave up on Kenny Pickett really quick. What I don't like about the Pittsburgh Steelers is that they go the veteran route all the time. They get Russell Wilson 1 year. They get Justin Fields.
They could be signed Justin Fields and they let him go.
They let him go.
I think let's get Ming's opinion on this.
This is a mess.
Yeah, my opinion, Mike Tomlin, the Steelers, and yeah. I mean, same old, right?
Yeah.
They move on. Get the team you deserve, Mike.
If this team goes above 500 and loses in the playoffs, then it's like the same old story. I heard
every year though. It's almost every year, right?
It's the same story. They haven't been relevant in a long time. The last time they were actually good was 2020 when they started 11-0, and then they
fizzled out in a playoff game.
Yeah, and then I remember the Browns had a bunch of COVID cases that playoff game, and they beat them.
Yes.
Also, change the name back to Heinz Field.
Yes.
Get the ketchup battle back.
Please.
Yes.
Heinz Field. I call Heinz Field to this day. I don't know what they call it now, but it's ridiculous what they call it now.
I don't know. I don't know.
Now, one last story real quick. Sam Darnold in 7-on-7 drills in Seahawks training camp looked very bad. He threw 2 interceptions in a 7-on-7 drill. And people in Seattle are speculating that maybe, just maybe, they're going to look at Jalen Milroe, their 3rd-round pick out of Alabama, as their next starter. Now, this rings bells to me about Russell Wilson, because remember, Russell Wilson in 2012 was a 3rd-round pick, and Matt Flynn got a 3-year contract, and Matt Flynn was supposed to be the starter, and then Matt Flynn had a terrible preseason, and the fans rallied around Russell Wilson, and then boom, the rest is history.
Wait, remember who the coach was?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll ain't there.
It's Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald. So he said, no, Sam's our guy. So that tells you it's only OTAs.
It's only OTAs.
It's 7-on-7. So when week 1 starts on Sunday, September 7th?
4th.
No. Well, the 4th is the Eagles Dallas.
Yes.
That's Thursday.
So Seattle opening day. Yeah.
So Friday. So September 7th, you're going to see Sam Darnold starting week 1 for the Seahawks.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, I think the Seattle Seahawks are not going to be division champions. I think it's going to be the Rams. But the NFL season is like a long way away. I can't wait till we're closer to the NFL season. Then we can start making our division predictions.
Yes.
Because I love football. I'm all fine with baseball. I love baseball. But when the NHL season ends and the NBA season ends and we're still waiting for the NFL, it's baseball. And I have no problem with baseball. But it's good to talk about other things. But like the Stephon Diggs thing, that had to come out.
See, baseball's too long. You only get 17 weeks of football, so
yeah,
you have it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Baseball, you have it for 6 months.
6 months plus, because it starts in April and then it goes till possibly November.
Yes.
I mean, I love baseball. I love the way the NCAA baseball goes. Like, you have a 60-game season and then the tournament. I'm not saying have a 60. Well, you can't have 64-team tournaments with 30 teams, but I like the COVID season because the COVID season was compact. You could digest every single game, and then the 8-team playoff format for each conference, it worked. I'm curious how the CBA is going to be because I want to see an agreement get done, but I know that it's going to be pretty complicated. One last thing before we go.
Yes.
Stanley Cup Final starts tonight. Florida Panthers, the defending champions, against the Edmonton Oilers in a rematch.
Yes.
For the 6th consecutive year, a Florida team is in the Stanley Cup Finals. Canada's looking to end a 32-year-long drought of not winning a Stanley Cup. Carl, what happens?
All right. So I'm gonna go with. You know what? I think this is the year that a Canada team's gonna do it. So I'm gonna go. For some reason, Connor McDavid is playing offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic.
So I'm going to say the Oilers in 6.
Oilers in 6?
Yeah.
Now, last year's Stanley Cup Finals, the Oilers were down 3-0. They evened up at 3-3, and then the Panthers, I'll never forget the last seconds of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. The puck was trapped in the corner. The Oilers tried to dig it out so they could have a chance at scoring a goal, and the Panthers trapped the puck inside, and then that was it. And I can just remember Connor McDavid being crushed on this in the box. I could just remember Florida Panther fans were going crazy, but the Oilers were devastated, and I don't blame them. I think that's on their mind. I think the Canadian drought ends this year.
So, Matt, for next show,
which will be June 25th.
Yeah, in 3 weeks. I think, because with you being a Yankee fan,
yes,
you hate this. I think we should bring it up again.
Go ahead.
The game tonight for your Yankees is on Prime Video, so you can't even watch it. You got to listen to. You got to listen onto 101. The fan 101. Actually, the fan 101.9 FM. That's what stinks.
I hate Prime Video.
Now, do you have?
I hate Amazon Prime.
Now, is your games on your Yankee games? Are they on Apple Plus T? Or they
First
on
off, Apple TV is terrible.
Are they on Apple TV? Are they on Apple TV also?
Yeah, they got on Apple TV as well.
Now, do you have Apple TV?
Yes, and I don't like it. The quality of Apple TV games is terrible.
And then it's delayed, right?
It's delayed.
Yeah.
It lags.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was at Red Rock, not too far away from the studio.
Right.
And I was watching the Yankee Dodger game on Apple TV. The quality of the game of the program was terrible. The announcing sucked too. Everything was not right. I hate it. I absolutely despise it when we have games on streaming services. I hate it. Because you want to know what it's all about? Ching, ching, ching.
Yeah.
But if you're going to put a good product on a streaming service, make it good. Apple TV is not good. Amazon Prime's not good either. I'd rather you put a game on. God, I'm not going to say Netflix.
No, because they're doing. I don't agree with them doing Prime on Thursday night for football, but they got the contract.
I don't
like Netflix doing.
The NFL
for Christmas on Netflix.
That was a disaster.
So if you don't have Netflix, you can't watch football on Christmas.
Yeah, I hate streaming services.
Thank God the Eagles don't play on Christmas. Thank God.
Thank God MLB took games off of social media. So I don't know if you remember this, Carl.
What?
There was a point in time where MLB used to put baseball games on Facebook Live.
Yes.
That ended really quickly.
Yes. So listen to this. So this Black Friday game, right? The Eagles are hosting the Bears.
Okay.
On Prime. Well, since it's a local broadcast for the Eagles, thank God they're going to put it on a local channel.
Yeah.
But if it's not local, the only way to watch it is on Prime.
Stupid.
Come on, man.
So stupid. All right. I think that's enough venting on our streaming service for today. Thank you so much for watching the Equinox, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Thank you so much for being Jeff and Push the Buttons. And from Matt Siriani and Carl Maglowski, this has been the Equinox. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.